Is having debt on your house the biggest cause of financial stress in your life? Because I spent hours reviewing Dave Ramsey's videos to show you how paying off your mortgage early will be one of the most rewarding things you do in your life. And what you're about to learn will finally help you work out for yourself how much extra money you should be putting towards paying off your mortgage early, as well as how paying off your mortgage too early could actually hurt you, not help you. And trust me, even Dave Ramsey, the guy who hates debt, agrees with this. And after watching this, you'll never look at debt the same, I'm afraid. So let's start first with how mortgages work. To understand how to pay off our mortgage early, we have to first understand how mortgages actually work. Now, this isn't very complicated, but I guarantee you've never heard it explained this way before. Most people look at a mortgage payment in terms of how much monthly payment they can afford. But what often gets overlooked is how much interest you're paying. Obviously, the higher the interest rate, the more you'll pay for the mortgage over time. But it's shocking to see just how much extra. In fact, nowadays, it's common that the amount of interest you'll pay is greater than the amount of money you borrowed. Check this out. Let's say you have a loan for $400,000 and you borrowed it at 4%. You'll pay a little over $280,000 in interest. If you borrowed it at 6%, you'll pay a little over $460,000 in interest. And if you borrowed it at 8%, you'll pay a little over $650,000 in interest.
Wow, that's a lot of money, but
the interest is only part of your payment. We also have to understand how principal payments are included in your interest payment. And that's exactly what this guest asked Dave.
How do principal payments work?
Yeah, it makes it sound like there's some kind of a magic to it. There's not any magic to it at all. You take the interest rate of your mortgage and you multiply it or divide it by 12, okay? And you multiply that times the outstanding balance that month. That is the interest charged that month. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
And the rest of your payment goes towards principal.
Let's look at this table so we can visualize how these two numbers change over time. Once you see this, it'll be very clear how we can pay off our mortgage faster and finally become debt-free. If we take the same example of a $400,000 loan and put it on a 30-year schedule at 8%, we can see that our monthly payment would be $2,935.06. Now, in month one of that payment, $2,666.67 is going towards interest, and $268.39 is going towards principal. So very little of our monthly payment is actually going towards paying off our principal. The majority of it is going towards paying off interest. In fact, after 3 years of payments, we would have made a little over $105,000 in payments, and we would have only paid off $10,000 of our principal, which means over $90,000 went straight to interest. But that's not even the most depressing fact. It will take 22 years before the principal payment will be greater than our interest payment when we pay our mortgage. And by the end of 30 years, in total, you will have paid a little over $1 million for this $400,000 mortgage. I know that sucks to think about, but now that you can see not only how painful interest can be, you also understand how a mortgage payment works. So let me show you some strategies for paying it off early. To pay off your mortgage early, you either have to get a shorter loan or make extra payments. Now, Dave Ramsey suggests this approach.
That here's the most you should borrow. And it's the only thing I don't yell at you for borrowing, but I would prefer you didn't borrow or that you borrow less, and get it paid off as soon as possible. But the most you should borrow is a home on a 15-year fixed rate where the payment is no more than a fourth of your take-home pay.
So Dave suggests you should be putting your mortgage on a 15-year term instead of a 30. I disagree with this.
Your idea is terrible.
The reason I don't like this approach is because when you choose a 15-year mortgage, your monthly payment is higher. For example, with a $400,000 mortgage on a 15-year schedule, we would be paying $3,708.05 instead of $2,935.06. And over your life, you're gonna come across situations where money gets tight. Maybe you unexpectedly lose your job and it takes you a while to find a new one. Maybe you want to make a career change, but you have to take a pay cut to do so. Maybe your car breaks down and your roof needs repaired at the same time. In these situations, having that higher payment could make cash flow very tight, which may lead you to missing a payment. By getting a 15-year mortgage, you're permanently increasing your monthly expenses. Instead, If you take out a 30-year mortgage and choose to make extra payments, then when money gets tight, you can pause the extra payments until you get back on your feet. It just gives you more flexibility. And flexibility is the oxygen of any great financial plan. So instead of getting a 15-year mortgage, you can get a 30-year mortgage and implement these tricks to pay it off faster. Trick number 1 is to make one extra payment a year. Now to do this, just take your mortgage payment, which in this case is a little over $2,900, and divide it by 12. That would give us about $245. If you pay an extra $245 per month, by the end of the year, you will have made one extra mortgage payment. If you did this every year, then you would pay off your mortgage 7 years early. In total, you would save a little over $180,000 in interest. If you want to pay off your mortgage even faster, you can make an additional payment of half your mortgage each month. So in this case, we would be making an additional payment of $1,468 each month. This would result in paying off your mortgage in 12 years and saving over $440,000 in interest. And of course, for the most aggressive plan, you could make one extra mortgage payment every month. You would pay off your mortgage in just 8 short years and save over $520,000 in interest. If you choose to implement one of these tricks, there's one crucial thing you need to do. Make sure that the extra payments are going towards principal only, not interest, because the principal is what accrues the interest. So the faster we eliminate it, the less interest we'll pay. So those are simple tricks you can implement tomorrow to begin to pay off your mortgage faster. But before you do that, while it's tempting to go out and pay off your mortgage as fast as possible, you could actually be putting yourself in a worse financial situation if you pay it off too quickly. So how would being debt-free hurt you financially? Well, when you choose to put extra money towards your mortgage, you're cutting back on spending in other areas of your life. Most of the time, people will stop saving and investing to pay off their mortgage early. And that's where paying off your mortgage early can turn into a mistake. If you don't believe me, check out what Dave Ramsey has to say.
People often call me and say, I have enough money in my savings account to pay off my house today, and it would leave me with $1,000 left in my account. And I would tell them no. And I'm the get out of debt guy. And I'm still telling them no, because I don't want you sitting there with $1,000 at this stage of your financial plan. And but I would not stop. Are you saving for a 401k? I would not stop that.
Absolutely. Yeah, my wife puts about 11% in. I'm putting about 7% in.
Yeah. Okay.
Then I'm putting about another 8% into Roth IRA.
Okay. Yeah, you got the right numbers in. I wouldn't stop that either. No, I would not take it out of retirement. Yeah. No, I'm not going to cash out and pay penalties on your retirement. I was not suggesting that. But because that changes the formula. Now,
so there's 2 accounts that shouldn't be touched in the process of paying off your mortgage early. The first one is your emergency fund. If you drain your emergency fund to make extra payments on your mortgage, you may dig yourself into a bigger hole. What if you have a paid off house but only $1,000 in the bank and you need to repair your roof or your car breaks down? What if you lose your job and don't have money for monthly expenses? Well, you probably would have to put a balance on a credit card to stay afloat.
Credit card debt.
And the interest rate on a credit card would be 3 or 4 times greater than the interest rate on your mortgage. It's not like you can go to the bank and ask for your money back for a month or 2 until you get back on your feet. The second account is your retirement account. If you stop all retirement investing until your mortgage is paid off, then you're losing out on tax advantage growth on your money. Yes, once you have a paid off house, you could catch up on investing because you would have more money to invest. But retirement accounts have limits to how much you can put in them every year. This would ultimately cost you more in taxes in the long run. In my opinion, you should be investing at least 10% into your retirement accounts even while you're trying to pay off your mortgage early. And if you try and make one big payment towards your mortgage by selling out of your retirement accounts, then you'll end up paying higher taxes and large penalties, resulting in more harm than good. Doing any of these 3 things in an attempt to pay off your mortgage faster is like going to the gym 7 times a week, but then eating McDonald's for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. It's counterproductive. So if you want to pay off your mortgage early because it's important to you to have no debt, then that's a great goal to have. Just make sure you never drain your savings lower than 6 months of expenses, never sell out of retirement accounts, and make sure you're at least contributing 10% of your income towards retirement. There's only one thing that I didn't mention about paying off your mortgage that you must know before you make this your priority. When you pay off your mortgage early, the most you can make is the money you're saving from the interest rate on the loan. So in this example, with an 8% mortgage, the most you can make is 8%. What's awesome about this is that by paying off your mortgage early, you're getting a guaranteed savings of 8%. But if you invest that money instead, there's a possibility that you can get a return on your money greater than 8%. And if you can consistently get a greater return than 8%, then you would be making more money by investing it instead of paying off your mortgage. That being said, there's also a possibility you get less than an 8% return. So before you choose which path is right for you, you have to assess your goals. Personal finance is personal, and everyone has different goals. If your goal is to maximize your peace of mind, then paying off debt as fast as possible is a great way to do that. But if your goal is to maximize your net worth, then you may want to focus on investing your extra money instead of paying off debt quicker. So that's why I reviewed this video from Ramit Sethi. Regardless of your goals, this video will give you a basic roadmap to follow every time you get paid to give you the ultimate flexibility with your money. So check out this video next if you want to create a plan that is customizable to you and your goals.